Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
এটা চলতে থাকবো।
भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती महाराज की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर श्री श्री गोस्वामी प्रभु श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण प्रभु गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की श्री नवदीप मायापुर धाम की श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई जमुना माई की भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की समवेत भक्त वृंद की नाम संकीर्तन की अरदास श्री भागवत की जय गौर पूर्णिमा महामहोत्सव की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे ओम गौरिष्ठ समृद्धि बोले ओम गौरिष्ठ समृद्धि बोले ओम गौरिष्ठ समृद्धि बोले ओम गौरीज ओम श्री श्री गुरु गोविंद श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।
हरे कृष्ण नमो महावदनाय कृष्ण देवाय कृष्णाय कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण गौर पूर्णिमा महाउत्सव 2023 गौर पूर्णिमा এখন আরেকটু পরে এখানে শুরু হয়ে যাবে অভিষেক ভগবান গৌরীর
bangun dulu, mana itu?
Vido Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Hare Krishna. Very soft. Hare Krishna. I can only hear the Prabhu's mantras. Hare Krishna. I can't hear you. Hare Krishna. I'm sure you outshout them at home. So Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Jai Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gauri Vaishnava ki jai. So we warmly welcome all devotees today for the most auspicious occasion of Gour Purnima. The last time we were here was just before the lockdown, before the circuit breaker, if you remember. I think 2020 March, and then everything shut down. And we were hoping that we would come together, and we were thinking that maybe during that time we wouldn't be able to continue the way we were. Krishna and Gauranga Mahaprabhu are so kind that in fact we had more online programs, we had more preaching programs than we ever had before. And that is the reason why so many of us have actually come together again today. So I want to thank everyone for coming, and I know more devotees are coming because it's a weekday. Many of us work, and we'll probably be rushing from the office to come here. Without further ado, we want to thank their Lordship Sri Jagannth, Baladev and Subhadra, and Sri Gour and Srila Prabhupada, because without their mercy, we cannot be here. And we are today very honored to have a special guest of honor who has asked me to speak very briefly about him, but I'm not going to say much. His Grace Narsingha Kavacha Prabhu ki jai! Narsingha Kavacha Prabhu is the Minister for Deity Worship in ISKCON. He is a dear friend and well-wisher of all of us in Singapore. He has come through before, and we have heard his lectures, his realizations. So today, personally for me, he has been a most dear friend,
a very loving God brother and a very inspiring devotee. I want all of us to give a chance today to hear very well, because Gour Purnima is not just about a festival, but the festival is really about hearing Krishna Katha, Gour Katha. And today, Prabhu will share with us his realizations on the glories of Mahaprabhu and the appearance of Mahaprabhu. Now sing a very loud harmonies to receive it.
And of course, everything up to his kind hospitality. As I mentioned, he's been a very dear friend for many years. But one of the biggest problems is I hardly ever get to see him. He's so busy, he's in and out in a few minutes. He comes to my hall, he's there for the meetings, and he goes. So hopefully, while I'm here, we're going to spend 2 days together. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai. There's a really nice verse in the beginning of the Chaitanya Charitamrita which I want to read. And it's the first of 14, well, it's the fourth of the first 14 verses. And these 14 verses are very significant. The first 6 verses describe Lord Chaitanya. The next 5 verses describe Nityananda. Then the following 2 verses describe Advaita Acharya. Then the 14th verse describes the Panchatattva. Very, very nice verses. And then that's followed by the Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana mantras as well. So Krishna's Kaviraj is offering his obeisances to the main deities in Sri Vrindavan. And actually the deities of, as I mentioned, Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana. And he's seeking their blessings so that he can write. And then interestingly, he offers a prayer to all the readers. You don't often see people doing that. Well, I'll pray to the reader, please, this book you find inspiring. So it's a very, very nice introduction. So the 4th verse, it's talking about Lord Chaitanya's mission, why he came. Napita Charli Chirat Karuna Vidya Rano Samahayate Murashvara Samsvati Shriyam Hari Purta Sundara Tyuti Kadam Sandibita Siddha Hidaya Kandare Surata Vasachinandana. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, be transcendently situated in the innermost chambers of your heart, resplendent with the radiance of molten gold. He's appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most sublime and radiant mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. So this is describing what the main external reason that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. Now, for those of you who have studied Chaitanya Charitamrita, you know that the 3rd chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it deals with the 3 reasons that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. And the 4th chapter, the 3 external reasons. The 4th chapter deals with the 4 internal reasons. Now, the internal reasons are very, very deep, and I'm not particularly qualified to discuss such things, so I'm not going to touch on those. I'm going to more focus on these external reasons that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. Because these are also, I think you'll find that these are reasons that resonate with all of us. These are things that we can understand. So I'll just touch a little bit on these 3 reasons. But first I'll offer some prayers to Sri Chaitanya. Sri Chaitanya Bande Yarkara Shraya Virvita Sangrinatya Karavrata Arkya Siddhanta Sammanin. I offer my respectful obeisance to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By the potency of the shelter of his lotus feet, even a fool can collect the valuable jewels of inclusive truth from the minds of the scriptures. So Krishna's Kaviraj is praying here in this verse that by his mercy that we can understand the highest philosophical truths, Because there is no higher philosophy than the philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. This philosophy taught by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the philosophy of Chintamaya Tattva, is the most deep philosophy that exists. Jiva Goswami, who propounded this philosophy, expanded this philosophy, and helped others to understand this philosophy, is known as the greatest philosopher of the modern age. There's no philosopher who's greater than Jiva Goswami, and all he was doing was simply explaining what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was doing. And so by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, we can understand this philosophy. There's a verse in the Chaitanya where it talks about this, how that things that are very difficult to do, they become easy to do if you simply remember Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then even easy things become very difficult. So by his mercy, we can overcome the most difficult things in the material world. By his mercy, we can understand the deepest philosophy. Without his mercy, what can we achieve? So the goal of devotees, especially of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, is to place themselves at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and beg for his mercy that we can understand his philosophy, beg for his mercy that we can progress in the path of devotional service. And there's another last verse. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Vrinda. All glories to Lord Chaitanya, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So, just to touch on the different reasons that Lord Chaitanya, the external reasons that Lord Chaitanya appeared. One of the external reasons, probably the one that we're all most familiar with, is that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to propagate the Yuga Dharma, which is Nam Sankirtan. So, we're just engaged in this blissful kirtan of Gour. This is all part of Nam Sankirtan, especially the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is the Yuga Dharma, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's a section in the third chapter where it's reflecting on, and I'll discuss some of these verses later, it's reflecting on after Lord Krishna disappeared from this world. He was thinking, well, I haven't given everything that I want to give, I want to give more. And so one of the things he was reflecting about is he wanted to propagate the Yuga Dharma and to make people dance in ecstasy. And we see, and I'm sure you've all experienced that, especially this Gaurati we're having before, very, very enthusiastic. And the devotees are dancing in great happiness. And especially in this age of Kali, very, very difficult age, but in this age of Kali, this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the easiest process of religion. We understand it says in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, it says, Kriti Yadyayato Vishnu, Treti Yadyayato Dvapare Paricharya Karota Dhari Kirtana. But in Kriti Yuga, or Sat Yuga, the Golden Age, the process was Dhyayato Vishnu, to meditate on Vishnu. Then Treti Yuga, Treti Yadyayato Dvapare, to perform yajna, sacrifice, you're pouring grains into the fire. When you do meditation, we look at people like Valmiki and these other personalities. They meditated for tens of thousands of years to achieve their goal. Long time. Then yajnas, we know from the Bhagavatam that the sages of Namaśraya had sat down to perform 1,000 years sacrifice. So they do these sacrifices for many, many years. And also, like you've probably seen sacrifices when you go to the temple or different places. I was talking with my one little host, Sumit Prabhu, about this. He was talking about Holi, the celebrations they do on Holi, and they have there's a sacrament, a yajna they do. So if you look at the yajnas we do in this day and age, they're very, very simple. They might use wood, and they have like a wooden spoon. They might have the ghee in a stainless steel bowl. was not that enough already? Okay. If you read the histories, the Vedic histories, you'll see that when they performed these yajnas, everything was made of pure gold. The spoons, the sugar, all these things were pure gold. The yajna kunda, the sacrifice, was all pure gold. And even the containers, they didn't just have one bowl of ghee. Like usually when I do a sacrifice, it might be 1-2 kgs of ghee. They had a volume, such a huge volume, they had lakes of ghee. And they would offer this all the fire sacrifice. And so much gold, so much wealth. And when they finished the sacrifice, did they gather all the gold up and put it in their bag and go home? No, they just left it there. Not interested. You know, the kings, the chakras, they give it all to the brahmanas. The brahmanas weren't interested. They take what they need and leave the rest behind. And it's even described in the Mahabharata, you may all be familiar with this pastime, how when Yudhisthira was going to perform, I think it was the Rajasuya sacrifice, he sent his brothers out to gather wealth. And he sent Arjuna also to gather wealth. And Krishna told him where there was a mountain tip of gold. And this mountain tip of gold was left by a famous king called Maruta, who had been performing so many sacrifices, and there was excess gold, he just left it there. They weren't attached to it. They used it and they And of course in Dwapara Yuga, it says Dwapare Parichaya, but in Dwapara Yuga, then the process of the religious process they observed was deity worship. Now, of course, the deity worship here in Singapore is very gorgeous, but in comparison to what was done in those ages, it's very simple. You know, like all the jewelry the deities wearing is plastic or some base metal. It's not very, very expensive. Whereas the jewelry that the deities were wearing in those days, I remember seeing a book Chennai Guru had years ago, and it was, there's a well-known dynasty in England called in India, called the Bowler dynasty. And they had made all this jewelry for their deities, and it was all made of navaratnas. So very, very precious gold and precious stones, pearls, and things like that. And everything was made for that, very, very expensive. But these days, if you put things like this on these, someone will steal them. Very, very. There's a story one time, devotees wanted to make a gold drinking goblet for Prabhupada and have jewels put in it. And they said, Prabhupada said, someone will steal it. And then the devotee said, don't worry, Prabhupada, we'll get a guard, and he can protect the cup. And Prabhupada said, then he will steal it. So that's the nature of this thing. People will steal things. And so we don't offer the deities these valuable jewelry because it's dangerous. But, we can see in these previous ages, the religious process for the age was very complicated and not easy for us to perform in this age. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his causeless mercy, has descended to propagate the Yuga Dharma. But actually, it doesn't need to be the Supreme Person of Godhead, the original Supreme Person of Godhead, to propagate the Yuga Dharma. Any plenary incarnation can do that. And we see with all the other Yuga Dharmas that, Pritam Maharaj and these different personalities, they propagated the Yuga Dharma. It wasn't the original person of Godhead himself. And so it could have been easily any kind of incarnation. But he himself chose to do that because, obviously because he enjoyed chanting the holy name, but also he wanted to set this really good example. But one of the real reasons because they're all important reasons, is he wanted to take the role of a devotee and set the example of how to practice devotional service. So we see how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in Navadvip, when he was traveling around, and especially the last 24 years of his life, I think he was in MURARI. Then there he set such a wonderful example of devotional service and guiding and inspiring others in devotional service. And when we see how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not only did he inspire people in chanting the Holy Names, because there's the different pastimes where he was at Rath Yatra and dancing before Lord Jagannth and things like that. And inspiring the devotees to greater and greater, depths of ecstasy in these kirtans. But then also with his interactions with various devotees, with interactions with his confidential devotees, his interactions with personalities like Maharaj Prataparupa, he's showing us how to practice bhakti. At one level he's following very carefully the dharma of a sannyasi. He's not approaching a worldly minded person because it's not appropriate for sannyasi to be intimately connected with the king. But at the same time, he's making arrangements so that Prataparupa Maharaj could understand that he was the full recipient of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. And we've seen it in the past times where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had made his arrangements for Prataparupa Maharaj to come and take darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his private garden. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came in disguise, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew who he was, and he gave his mercy in the situation. And then also we see that to explain the confidential loving service. Now this is something very interesting. To explain the confidential loving service performed in the four principal varieties of loving affairs between the Supreme Lord and his devotees, Dasya, Sakya, Dasalya, and Madhurya. And so we see that previously when Krishna had come, he these intimate relationships were very sort of not very widely broadcast. It was mostly present in Vrindavan, whereas outside of Vrindavan it was very much Aishwarya. But in Vrindavan the mood was very, very intimate, very sweet. And this is when we think of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Purnima, there's the Mahavaranyaya Krishna Premadayate, Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gour that he's Mahavadanyaya. He's the most munificent incarnation. And why is that? It's because he's giving that which no other incarnation has ever offered before. This Krishna Prema Pradayate. Pradaya means to give. So he's given this pure love of Krishna. And it's describing in this chapter 3 how through following studying the scriptures and following the rituals that are described in the scriptures, one can develop some degree of attachment. One can certainly become purified, but you'll see that it's not really it's not possible actually for one to develop this love for Krishna that is manifest in the residents of Vrindavan. Because you'll see the residents of Vrindavan, they have a very, very different approach. Usually persons who have some Aishwarya in their approach to God, there's usually some kind of personal motive that they don't completely let go. Whereas if you look at the residents of Vrindavan, their love for Krishna is that they sacrifice their very existence for the pleasure of Krishna. And this is the difference. We can become perfect pujaris, we can become perfect followers of the Vedic rituals, we can become perfect knowers of the scriptures. But this in itself is not enough to give us pure love for Krishna. One can only receive this mercy of pure love for Krishna from Krishna himself. And this is one of the main reasons, the main external reasons that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, was Krishna Prema Pradayate, to give this Krishna Prema to everyone. And this is the nature of his mercy also. And also the mercy of Nityananda, is that they're freely distributing this love of Krishna. And this is why this incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this appearance, not incarnation, he's God directly. This appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so important, is because he's giving that which no other form or no incarnation of God has ever given before. He's giving us pure love of Krishna. And he's giving very freely. Just trying to find something I can read. So, as I was mentioning before, this is one of the things that the prayer, a lot of prayers, one of the thoughts that Krishna's having after he returned to Goloka when he was here 5,000 years ago. He said, for a long time, have not bestowed unalloyed loving service to me upon the inhabitants of the world. Without such loving attachment, the existence of the material world is useless. So, we may have so many wonderful achievements in this material world. Just like, in Singapore, I just came from Delhi to Singapore, and most of you have been to Delhi, probably all have been to Delhi. It's chaotic. Compared to Singapore, it's chaotic. I did some research today, just to find out how many people live in Delhi, how many people live in Singapore, how many cars on the road, how many vehicles on the road in Delhi, how many vehicles on the road in Singapore. Per capita, there's more vehicles in Singapore. And look at the traffic here, it's so peaceful. We can get anywhere in the island in an hour. You can't go from one side to Delhi to the other in an hour, unless you do it at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's chaotic place. But anyhow, we've got these huge cities, and where I'm staying is right at the top of a high building, and so you can see most of Singapore. And it's quite an advanced place. There's so many big buildings, it's so organised, etc. You've got covered walkways all over the place. Very organised place. But if it's devoid of Krishna, it has no value. Nothing in this world has value without a connection to Krishna. And that's why devotional service is so important, because it gives us this connection to Krishna. It helps us to understand who we really are. And this is one of the primary teachings of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, and also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jivera Swaragavai, Krishna-Das, Krishna-Das Shakti, Veda, Veda Prakash. That the jiva, the living entity, us, the self, Swaragavai, your own, your natural form, Krishna-Das, your eternal servant of Krishna. Krishna-Das Shakti, Veda, Veda Prakash. And why this is because the jiva is a tatasta, or a part of Krishna, but a separated part, a totally separated part of Krishna. So, because we're part of Krishna, the part serves the whole. Just like having a finger, the finger serves the body, the body's the whole. It's not the body serving the finger. Although, when the finger's in pain, then the body tends to serve the finger. But generally the position of the finger is to serve the whole of the body. So in the same way, because we're part of the whole Krishna, our business is to serve Krishna. So Krishna is making this point that if we don't have this loving attachment to Krishna, then our existence here is useless. So then he contemplated further that I will descend to propagate this loving attachment so that people can actually become attached to him. Why? So that their existence can become meaningful, their existence can become whole. Because the finger, if you separate the finger from the body, it's not whole. But by being attached to the body, by functioning properly, then the finger is complete. So by us being connected to Krishna, our existence is complete. By serving Krishna, our existence is complete. And that's the point of this Hare Krishna movement, is to connect everyone to Krishna. And this is what is called Sambandha. If you understand who you are, if you understand your connection in relation to the whole, you understand your position. And what is that position? As I said, it's to be an eternal servant of God, eternal servant of Krishna. Then, if you understand who God is, you understand your position, then you understand, what should I do next? I should serve Him. This is called Abhideya, or the process whereby we achieve the goal, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defined as Prema Purnima Maham. This means the supreme destination is to achieve Prema, love for Krishna. And this is the point that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one of these 3 reasons he's ascended, is to help people understand what is Prema. But not just any ordinary Prema, because there's so many categories of Prema. Even we see Grandfather Vishnu, he was experiencing Prema. But it was not equal to the prema that the residents of Vrindavan experienced. Especially, it was not equal to the prema experienced by the Kalyana girls. Their prema was unique, because they were willing to sacrifice everything they had. Their name, their fame, their reputation, their families, their wealth, whatever they had, they were willing to let it go, just to please Krishna. And this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to encourage us to do is to develop this kind of love for Krishna. And not only that, he's guiding us how to develop this love for Krishna. And he himself, he himself has set the perfect example of how to develop this love for Krishna. So this is why this Hare Krishna movement is very, very important. How much longer should I go for? 5 minutes, okay. And one of the things to understand also is that Krishna very rarely awards pure love. And especially if someone's attached to fruitive activities, philosophical speculation. In that situation, it's very, very hard to get this pure love of Krishna. And actually, Queen Kunti, she praised in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavatam that she says, "My dear Lord, you are very easily attained, but only by those who are materially exhausted." But it says, "Janmaishraya Shudashi Vyedaman Madana Navahati Abhidapurmaya Twami Kinshana Koshara." She calls it the Kinshana Koshara. The Kinshana Koshara means that you're very easily approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. People who are trying to improve themselves in terms of their birth, in terms of their wealth, in terms of their knowledge, their beauty, any of these things, they cannot approach Krishna. Only people who are willing to let go of all that can approach Krishna. And that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us. You know, if we're overly attached to following regular principles, we cannot achieve the love that Brajavasis have for Krishna. We see in many religions they're very much attracted by the awe and the opulence of the majesty of God. You know, how great God is and all this. That's also there. But you see in Vrindavan, they only know Krishna as a cowboy boy. They don't, you know, there's even that wonderful story that, after the gopis were playing with Krishna and Krishna disappeared, and they go running looking for Krishna everywhere, and then Krishna decided to play a trick. So he manifested himself as Narayan. Yeah? And the gopis, they come running up and they go for prayers, "Oh, my dear Lord Narayan," on the basis of things. Where's Krishna? Not interested. You know, I mean, they're respectful of that, but their only interest was Krishna. And that's what we need to develop. That our only interest is Krishna, or in this case, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is our only interest. Anything else in this material world, we're not interested in it. This is how we'll achieve success. And this is what this Krishna conscious movement is teaching. And it's interesting to note that no one but Krishna himself, because this is why he came down, he's a Krishna Prema Pradayate. He came to give this highest love of Krishna because no one but Krishna could teach it, because he's the one who understands it the most. And so he descended himself to give us this opportunity. And as I was saying before, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful. And Nityananda Prabhu is even more merciful, because Nityananda Prabhu, he's bursting open the storehouse of the love of Godhead. And the only thing he's asking is faith. You just have faith, and you'll get this love of Krishna. You just apply yourself with faith to this practice of Krishna consciousness, especially the chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. And this is going to help you to access this love of Krishna. It may take, you can do it in a very short time. It may take a few lifetimes. It doesn't really matter. Once you're on the path, it's just like, when I came here from Delhi yesterday, and when I got on the plane, I was good. I consider I was as good as here, with all you wonderful devotees. So, sometimes the flight takes longer, sometimes there's delays, they've got this problem, mechanical problem. At one time we were in Melbourne, we were flying to India, and there was some part broken on the plane, so we had to wait till we got a new part. It took a day. I was convinced I was going to Vrindavan. So the same thing, it may take a little bit longer, it may be quicker. It's not really important in my sense. The main thing is, you're on the path, you stick to the process, you'll get there. Very, very. So, knowing that the Lord can teach this highest form of devotion, so it's interesting that the form of bhakti taught by Lord Chaitanya is where the devotee has no other desire than to satisfy the Lord. And this is what we're trying to cultivate, is this desire to satisfy Krishna and just have that as our own goal. And he also he was teaching the highest principles of spiritual life. And so he appears to devotee, because one of the things also, you probably have this, it's just like, I remember when I was a child, my mother was always telling us not to take drugs. Yeah? Don't take marijuana, don't take this, don't take it. But almost every day she was intoxicated with alcohol. So her words didn't really ring true, because she herself wasn't living a life of abstinence. So there's the statement in the Bhagavad Gita, Yadya Achari Shestas Tantari Vajara Sayataraman Rute Lokastara Vartate. And whatever actions a great man does, compound follow. Whatever stands he sets by example, makes all the world pursues. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, rather than just telling people you should develop love of God, he came himself to show us how to do it. And this is why we're very fortunate, is we have books like the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Chaitanya Bhagavad, which describe Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes and describe how he practiced devotional service like no one else can practice devotional service, to give us a perfect example of how to go back home, back to Godhead in one life. So thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for giving us such a wonderful, concise rendition from Chaitanya Charitamrita and from our scriptures about the significance, the importance, and the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has descended into this world. And it's today. It's actually today. Right? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. And today, right, we have the children of Gopal's garden, we have the youths, and they are going to present, right, a cultural performance for the pleasure of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and for the pleasure of all the Vaishnavas assembled. So I'm going to introduce you to Radhika, who is going to introduce you to the children, right? So welcome her, because she and many other young girls and boys are the future of this movement. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhutis and Mataji's. Please accept my humble obeisances, all the likes to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev. Wishing you all a very, very happy Krishna Conscious God festival. On this auspicious occasion of the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the children of Gopal's garden have put together some wonderful performances for the pleasure of their lordships and all of the wonderful devotees present here today. The first performance is a dance glorifying the qualities and pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and will be performed by the girls of Gopal's garden. The song describes the Lord as the gorgeous boy who is the darling child of Mother Sachi, who is always busy dancing in the kirtan of the Lord. He wears yellow silken garments and a beautiful garland of forest flowers. He is Radha and Krishna combined in one transcendental form, and and he is none other than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please welcome the dancers with 3 loud high rolls.
মুরালি বাবু স্থানালি আছে কি ছিলেন থাম তোরা বাবা কারাই গেলাম রে ভাই উপস্থাপনা করতো মাথায় আনতো ভাই নামাইছি কেবল নামাইছি কেননা নৃত্য করবে না গান সিংয়ে পড়লে প্রভু ইসলামে যাইতে আপনি বলবেন দেখেন আপনার অপরচুনিটি সামনে আসে পান নাই দোকান পান নাই
দোকান পাইছি স্টার নাই
বানাই তো জরিমানা করবো কোনো তো জরিমানা করে দেবো
উপরে কষ্ট দিতে খালি এলা থাকে অভিষেক হয়েছে
প্রভু এই ভিডিও আপনারই শেষ